Hello, this is day 84 of reading one canto of the Divine Comedy every single day. We are on Paradiso, Canto 17, which I'll read from the Longfellow translation before giving some commentary. As came to Clymene to be made certain of that which he had heard against himself, he who makes fathers chary still to children, even such was I, and such was I perceived by Beatrice, and by the holy light that first on my account had changed its place. Therefore my lady said to me, Send forth the flame of thy desire, so that it issue imprinted well with the internal stamp. Not that our knowledge may be greater made by speech of thine, but to accustom thee to tell thy thirst, that we may give thee drink. O my beloved tree, that so dost lift thee, that even as minds terrestrial perceive no triangle containeth two obtuse, so thou beholdest the contingent things ere in themselves they are, fixing thine eyes upon the point in which all times are present. While I was with Virgilius conjoined upon the mountain that the souls doth heal, and when descending into the dead world, were spoken to me of my future life some grievous words, although I feel myself in sooth foursquare against the blows of chance. On this account, my wish would be content to hear what fortune is approaching me, because foreseen an arrow comes more slowly. Thus did I say unto that selfsame light that unto me had spoken before, and even as Beatrice willed was my own will confessed. Not in vague phrase in which the foolish folk ensnared themselves of old, ere yet was slain the Lamb of God who taketh sins away, but with clear words and unambiguous language responded that paternal love, hid and revealed by its own proper smile. Contingency, that outside of the volume of your materiality extends not, is all depicted in the eternal aspect. Necessity, however, thence it takes not, except as from the eye in which 'tis mirrored, a ship that with the current down descends. From thence, even as there cometh to the ear sweet harmony from an organ, comes in sight to me the time that is preparing for thee. As forth from Athens went Hippolytus, by reason of this stepdame false and cruel, so thou from Florence must perforce depart. Already this is willed, and this is sought for, and soon it shall be done by him who thinks it, where every day the Christ is bought and sold. The blame shall follow the offended party in outcry as is usual, but the vengeance shall witness to the truth that doth dispense it. Thou shalt abandon everything, beloved, most tenderly, and this the arrow is which first the bow of banishment shoots forth. Thou shalt have proof how savoureth of salt the bread of others, and how hard a road the going down and up another's stairs. And that which most shall weigh upon thy shoulders will be the bad and foolish company, with which into this valley thou shalt fall. For all ingrate, all mad and impious will they become against thee, but soon after they, and not thou, shall have the forehead scarlet. Of their bestiality their own proceedings shall furnish proof, so 'twill be well for thee a party to have made thee by thyself. Thine earliest refuge and thine earliest inn shall be the mighty Lombard's courtesy, who on the ladder bears the holy bird. Who such benign regard shall have for thee, that twixt you twain in doing and in asking, that shall be first, which is with others last. With him shalt thou see one who at his birth has by this star of strength been so impressed that notable shall his achievements be. Not yet the people are aware of him through his young age, since only 9 years yet around about him have these wheels revolved. But ere the Gascon cheat the noble Henry, some sparkles of his virtue shall appear in caring not for silver nor for toil. So recognized shall his magnificence become hereafter, that his enemies will not have power to keep mute tongues about it. On him rely, and on his benefits. By him shall many people be transformed, changing condition rich and mendicant. And written in thy mind thou hence shalt bear of him, but shalt not say it. And things said he, incredible to those who shall be present. Then added, Son, these are the commentaries on what was said to thee. Behold the snares that are concealed behind few revolutions. Yet would I not thy neighbours thou shouldst envy, because thy life into the future reaches beyond the punishment of their perfidies. When by its silence showed that sainted soul that it had finished putting in the woof into that web which I had given it warped, began I, even as he who yearneth after, being in doubt, some counsel from a person who seeth, and uprightly wills, and loves. Well see I, father mine, how spurreth on the time towards me such a blow, to deal me as heaviest is to him who most gives way. Therefore with foresight it is well I arm me, that, if the dearest place be taken from me, I may not lose the others by my songs. Down through the world of infinite bitterness, and over the mountain from whose beauteous summit the eyes of my own lady lifted me, and afterward through heaven from light to light, I have learned that which, if I tell again, will be a savour of strong herbs to many. And if I am a timid friend to truth, I fear lest I may lose my life with those who will hereafter call this time the olden. The light in which was smiling, my own treasure which there I had discovered, flashed at first, as in the sunshine doth a golden mirror. Then made reply, a conscience overcast, or with its own, or with another's shame, will taste forsooth the tartness of thy word. But nevertheless, all falsehood laid aside, make manifest thy vision utterly, and let them scratch wherever is the itch. For if thine utterance shall offensive be at the first taste, a vital nutriment 'twill leave thereafter, when it is digested. This cry of thine shall do as doth the wind, which smiteth most the most exalted summits, and that is no slight argument of honour. Therefore are shown to thee within these wheels, upon the mount and in the dolorous valley, only the souls that unto fame are known, because the spirit of the hearer rests not, nor doth confirm its faith by an example which has the root of its unknown and hidden, or other reason that is not apparent. It was more so a theme of the last canto, that is the love between fathers and sons, even spanning generations, like here with Cacciaguida and Dante. But I want to make a comment on it here. That paternal love, the filial love, is so evident in these pages. The care that Cacciaguida has for Dante and the reverence and respect of Dante for him, it brings to mind just a reality that, you know, if you knew your grandparents or your great-grandparents, you know, they loved you so much, right? And had they lived to see the next generation after that, they would have felt the exact same way. And so, you know, especially in light of what we've spoken of regarding the importance of family and of parents to even to one's own being in a way, it strikes me that when you have a child, you're not just having that one child, you are giving birth to generations of them, generations of people who, if you met them, you would love them. And if they met you, they would love you. And if you take Dante's perspective, where eternity is possible and you can know your descendants, even if they'll never meet you until after their earthly lives, then that's an incredibly powerful reality. The power of your family tree, I guess. But what is done with this love? Well, I'll give a quick summary. Dante asks, at Beatrice's urging, he asks Cacciaguida to explain what all the different souls throughout Purgatory and the Inferno have been telling him about his coming exile. He said, everybody's been telling me that some terrible fate is coming for me. Can you tell me what it is? And part of what inspired me to say what I said before about the love between them is how Dante says that not with like a dark omen kind of language, instead with love and affection. He says, listen, these things might happen, yeah. What is seen is not guaranteed. Even though it is foreknown that it will happen by God, it is not, fated. It's not deterministic. In fact, it could change based on people's actions, but it does still happen. Cacciaguida tells him there are people in Florence who are at this moment willing and plotting to kick you out. So it's going to happen by somebody else's free will, of no fault of yours, and it's also not fated. It's a delicate balance between God's foreknowledge and our free will, but it works. Next, he explains that once Dante is kicked out, he's going to have a falling out with his party, the Guelph party. They're going to be upset with him, and he'll split off from them and be kind of all by himself. He will find a patron in Verona, which Mark Musa tells us is named Bartolomeo della Scala of Verona, and his younger brother is Congrande della Scala, who is a very notable historical figure. I looked up what exactly he did because Dante's Cacciaguida here says that, oh, he's only 9 years old right now, but boy, when he grows up, he'll be such an amazing star, an amazing person. It turns out he is best known for being Dante's patron after his exile. Congrande becomes best known as a warrior, really, and an autocrat. He fights on behalf of the Holy Roman Emperor. He fights to protect Verona and the other cities in his charge against, mostly against the Guelphs, the members of Dante's former party, but against various other cities that threaten it too. And in the process, he becomes ruler of several of the cities, and he becomes known for being very magnanimous as well. He shows a lot of mercy to his defeated enemies and ends up befriending them while they are his captives. So it's natural for Dante to put several verses in here that praise him quite highly. But also objectively, he was a very impressive man. Dante's Cacciaguida tells Dante all about these different feats of arms that Congrande will do, but it's not written down for us to see. And the reason for that's given is that, well, these things haven't happened yet, so don't write them down, don't tell anybody. And I think that has to do with what was said earlier. Just the fact that within God there is foreknowledge of things to come does not in itself fate them to be. So it's best not to know the future because it's still down to each person's free choice to determine what will actually happen. Regarding his writings, Dante is kind of timid, and he asks Cacciaguida for something of a reassurance. He says, "Down through the world of endless bitterness, and on the mountain from whose lovely crown I was raised upward by my lady's eyes," so down through hell and through purgatory, and then through the heavens, rising from light to light, through the paradise, I learned things that, were they to be retold, would leave a bitter taste in many mouths. He says, I've learned a lot of things that, if I told them to people on earth right now, many of them would become extremely angry and indignant, offended. Yet, if I am a timid friend to truth, I fear my name may not live on with those who will look back at these as the old days. So that's talking about us. He says, if I'm not, I'm afraid that I'm gonna make people angry by what I write about the things I've learned in these eternal realms. But if I don't, then people won't really respect me in the future. I'll just be nobody. And Cacciaguida reassures him. He says, yes, the people that are going to hear you, they might feel a lot of shame when they hear what you have to say about who is in hell, or what purgatory is like, or who made it to heaven and why. They're going to be very angry with you. Tell all of it. Anyway, do not resort to lies. Let what you write reveal all you have seen, and let those men who itch scratch where it hurts. Though when your words are taken in at first, they may taste bitter, but once well digested, they will become a vital nutriment. This is kind of it's a repetition of what I'd like to call tough love, Dante's version of tough love, where, yes, he's going to write the Divine Comedy based on his journey here. And through that, he gives a scathing rebuke of many, many, many people who are living bad lives, who are pursuing vice instead of virtue, and who are corrupt in many different ways in many different parts of life. But do it anyway because it will cause them to be better. I wouldn't recommend this all the time, but in Dante's case, and on the macro scale, I think it is possible. The rebuke that causes people, to be ashamed of themselves, yes, maybe to get mad at whoever said it, but upon reflection, to say, maybe he's right. Maybe I have done something wrong. Maybe I need to change. And Dante does not exclude himself from that. His sinfulness was the whole reason for the journey. But another notable part of this chapter that I really loved was that Cacciaguida says, throughout this journey, you've only been shown the souls that are famous and most well known to your audience, so that they'll have an easier time believing you. Which means not only was God's divine providence trying to save Dante's soul through this journey, but he intended to save many of the souls of the people in Italy that Dante's rebuking through this as well. This whole journey, every single person that Dante ran into, everyone that he spoke to, all of what they told him, God helped guide all of that along. And there's an argument to be made that the writing of the Divine Comedy actually worked to accomplish that purpose. It could be made much better by somebody else, though. So that's all for today. I'll see you tomorrow.